watch movie. I'm Mike.
I'm Jay.
And the Merkins have done it again. You business. Yes. That's what they got. Also, Pan Eddie. But if you guys are interested, fucking. Oh, they're getting it. Sexy as fuck.
She's always been a friend of mine. I killed all the kids in the camp.
You know he feeds it too.
Oh, you can't escape me, there's no need to try.
Just go ahead.
Wishing that you had a chance.
Your looks are amazing.
Beach, I'm still a
It's like the James Big Carter.
I'm left with my mom's
Shirt open looks like the dude from Your Highness. What's his name? Friday.
I tried to tell you so much on the phone. Does my number show when I add your stars? I love you sitting when you're home alone.
Bring that standing order.
And then you'll be bloody sitting there.
It's probably the Blink-182 video for all the small things.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
That was amazing.
Bury that shit.
Oh, it's floating. Sink your boat.
All right, who put the fucking teddy arms on them like there's little floaties? Who put the floaties?
That was the best. I think that's the best, man. I think
That's close, man. That's a really, really good one. And by the way, just gonna point out the fact that you're wearing a hoodie. Luckily for you, it's got Michael Myers uniform on, but we both had spiked hair and we're gelled up, and I'm wearing a goddamn tie and a hoodie on top of it. We look like goddamn one of these fucking boy band members. But nonetheless, yes, Merkins, thank you for again showing us that you are one of the greatest that has ever done this before. You guys are like pioneers in this field, and good for you. And keep on doing it. Keep on drilling that hole for all vaginas that have, because there's many vaginas, and
You gotta recognize greatness when you see it, like Brett Favre on the football field.
So the Merkins, drilling it, spinning it, ready for the clitoris of 2019. Good for you.
The link for the actual video, make sure you guys watch it and subscribe. I'm sure you guys all know who they are already subscribed, but if not,
PS4 and PC, and it's been on our radar since it was first revealed. Now, what seemed like a simple and stylish brawler kung fu game is actually something even cooler and more challenging and involved than you'd expect. If you're willing to put some time in and don't mind grinding to absolute perfectionism, you have a friggin' like absolute thrill ride of a game here, man. At the risk of sounding like probably every other review or person out there, it's definitely not for everyone, but it really is not for everyone. But it's still intriguing. I'll explain why as we go. And just so you know, we've been playing a review copy of the game for about a week now, and all of my footage here is captured on PS5 and is spoiler-free. Now, Sifu is a story-light revenge tale. As a young boy or girl, you get to choose, which is pretty cool, you witness a family member murdered, and then you train and grow up and set out to kill each member of the group that did it. Now, the game is structured pretty much into like 5 lengthy levels with a boss at the end. That might not sound like a lot, but believe me, I think unless you're an absolute god at video games and this clicks immediately for you, then you're going to be spending double-digit hours in this game. Now, it takes a second to explain it all, but it's interesting and worth it. So, like, you go through each tightly, nicely designed level, engaging in the combat, which is extremely challenging, but if you die, you pretty much instantly come back, but a year older. Now, keep getting your ass kicked, and you keep coming back older and older as the years stack due to certain parameters. So, as you get older, you obviously look older, but you also have less health, and you hit a bit harder, just, you know, like life experience and stuff. Once you get too old and die in your 70s, it's game over, man. As you progress through the levels, you're able to, like, use points to unlock new move skills. Unlock them multiple times, and then you lock them in. Now, the main move set is totally fine and good, but some of these extra special moves are really useful, especially for, like, very specific use cases. Many of them are, like, kind of harder to pull off, but sometimes worth it. And as you age, you potentially actually lose access to trying to unlock some of these. They actually get blocked out. Now, I guess that's the game saying, like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, which, if you think about it, is really clever. You can also find little statues that you can spend points like XP to unlock stuff, like stronger weapon use, more block meter, stuff like that. Now, if you complete a level, you unlock and start the next level at the age you were at the end of the previous level. So, you're only ever as good as your last best playthrough. Now, if you don't want to start a level as a 60-year-old man who can die in a few hits and get game over after just a few encounters, you're gonna want to go back and replay previous levels and really replay them over and over again and master them so you can finish it as a younger man or woman and start the younger man or woman way better off. And, like, I mean really master them. The levels are nicely designed and cool and varied, but not procedurally generated. They're always the same, but always difficult with, like, these unpredictable enemies. So you're going to be replaying and grinding out bosses a lot, hoping to come out on top in better shape for your progression forward. Now, it gets a little better because careful examination will unlock some shortcuts upon multiple playthroughs throughout the different levels. It's actually pretty creative how they implement that stuff, but it really only temporarily helps make things a little easier on you because you're still going to end up just venturing your way to the end of the level and getting your ass beat again and again by, like, a specific boss or a character or whatever. I'll get more of that type of thing in a little bit, but the actual combat itself, like the sweet bread and butter of the game, it's so good. I love the combat. It's challenging, it's demanding, where, like, even the lowliest enemy can mess you up in a few hits, but you have a good set of tools at your disposal. You have light attacks, heavy attacks, a trip maneuver, a kind of push maneuver, a bit of a throw, and items and weapons you pick up in the environment. You also have a meter that you can burn to do special attacks that you'll unlock that are usually unblockable, which is nice. Now, on the defensive side, which is really the bigger thing, you can block and parry. There's a dodge that's really only good for specific moments, and also the ability to weave kind of dodge high and low. Each of these things has specific use cases. Now, of course, you have a block meter that enemies are trying to erode, but the enemies themselves also have them, so you're trying to wear theirs down, and then you can do sick-ass finishers on enemies. So these work great for also avoiding attacks and other incoming enemies because they act kind of like a cancel. Now, it may, like, look on screen like enemies are just attacking one by one, but actually, most of the time, if your positioning is bad, they'll all try to pound on you at once. So you're constantly trying to bob and weave and block and parry dudes and try to continue to chain counter finisher to finisher to finisher. Now, it's really like a lot of challenging games, so there are a few enemies that just feel kind of like total bullshit until you crack the code. Like, until you figure out exactly how to defend against them, they'll just spam blast you until you learn the ropes, including some of the bosses. Now, it is an incredibly rewarding combat system that always feels badass and satisfying. You know, the feedback is great, especially with the DualSense controller features, and it just makes you feel cool. Not to mention, a lot of the fighting sound effects are absolutely perfect. The game has tons of like amazing encounters, from wiping out clubs or drug dens, almost like John Wick style with your fists, to like really special old boy style hallway moments that kind of change the camera's perspective. Even when you're getting your ass beat, like, the game is just so impressive. The only thing that can be god awful is the camera itself. The camera's like gonna screw you over a lot. It can be frustrating. I noticed it especially during a boss battle or two, where like it would just unacceptably obscure my vision for like a very key, crucial second. Or in certain fights where characters can like do flying jump kicks from off screen. It's such a bummer for sure. And like, there are some settings in the options menus, but it's just, I really hope they can clean this up with an update, because otherwise, I think the gameplay is near perfect, at least for me personally. Just satisfying ass kicking that I was really hoping for with this game. Now, the levels and the moments are so cool, and each is so memorable that I enjoyed endlessly replaying these levels, even if it can be painful. Now, some folks out there listening might not find that much fun, and I totally understand. It's valid. There are other games where I don't want to endlessly grind the same level just to get better. I want new experiences. But here in Sifu, I just love the combat and the insanity and the really cool cinematic style that I just kept going. I kept grinding because I wanted to see what was next. Every single room in every single level is completely different. There's always some new creative spin, whether it's something inspired by an old kung fu movie or an action movie or just something you've never seen before. There's always a new thing to see and do. There's always a new type of object to pick up and throw at a person's head. There's always a new way to completely get demolished and bulldozed by enemies. Like, it's just consistently entertaining, even if like you're a rage quitter like me. I think the aging loop and the combat mechanics and the tight level design is strong enough to justify the way the game is stretched out over the 5 levels, but hey, not everyone will agree. Just know what you're getting into here. The way I explained it, you might be like, oh, no way, that's not for me. Or you might be like, hell yes, let's go. Or you might be in between, like where I kind of was. I was excited for this game, but I was not really looking forward to the painful difficulty to see it through. But because everything about it was so solid top to bottom, I learned to persevere and absolutely love it. I think Sifu is an incredibly special game, and I know it's early, I know it's only February, but I think you're going to see this on some people's 2020 Game of the Year lists. It's going to be a busy year, and there's a lot more, so like I know I might be jumping the gun a little bit, but I'm just trying to get across to you guys just how much I really like this one. But of course, that's a before you buy. You know how this goes by now, right? I give you some pros and some cons and some personal opinion, and now I want to hear yours down in the comments. I don't really think maybe you've played a game like this before, but if you can think of something that's kind of like this, definitely let me know. There's lots of elements of other games here and there in it, but it's really unique, so I'd like to know what you think of it if you jumped in. The game did kind of like go live a little bit early for some folks, so if you've been getting your hands dirty in this thing, definitely let me know what you think, whether you've been playing as a male or a female, what some of your favorite unlockable moves are, maybe some of your favorite encounters early in the game. Try and keep it spoiler free. I didn't want to show anything too late here, but let's talk about anything Sifu, or really any like cool action combat fighting games down in the comments, man. Now, if you enjoyed this video and maybe found it a little bit helpful and informative, all you gotta do is click the like button. We always say it, but we always really do appreciate it, and it does help us out. We'll be down in the comments, but of course, if you want to yell at me directly, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jake Baldino, or on my personal YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jake Baldino. But thank you guys for being here. Subscribe if you're new, because we put out videos every single day. But otherwise, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Becomes a king, and the loser a thief.
How many trials do I have left before meeting Sean?
2 more challenges lay ahead.
Hey guys, Dan here, excited to show you this speed run of Sifu. This is a no-death run through, just under I think 50 minutes. Obviously I use shortcuts, and look, the final boss fight, I stick to my guns. It's not the most exciting fight, but I just wanted to get the no-death run all the way through and keep it at age 20. So no deaths, finish the game. Let me know what you think, guys. Are you enjoying Sifu? Leave a like.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Alex here. Welcome back to another video for Sifu. Today, you guys know I've been super looking forward to this one because, of course, I love my fighting games, I love my beat-em-ups, I love my martial arts movies, anything with Jackie Chan in, you know I am there. And of course, we did a load of coverage for Sifu at the end of last year when we had a chance to go hands-on with the preview build. But today, now the game is out, I want to put together a few handy beginner tips because, while this is a game all about fulfilling your martial arts fantasy, in order to get there, you need to practice because you will take some beatings to begin with, you will get kicked down, you will die, you will lose, but you will learn, and then of course when you get there, you'll be a martial arts master. Hopefully. And of course, therein lies the reason behind this video, because these tips should help you on your way. So if you do find this helpful, a like would be super appreciated. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys plan to play this game. Let me know if you're playing it already. If so, what do you think of it? And do keep it locked because we've got more Sifu coverage coming your way. First things first though, if you have been under a rock, or maybe you haven't been watching this game, and you don't know what Sifu is, it is a PS5 legendary
your weapons wisely, because they do have durability on them, and the weapons in this game are very, very, it makes the game easy, right? But as you kill these enemies as well, you should make sure you get these combos, and you will regen your health a tiny little bit. You can actually upgrade your health later on in the game, but at the moment, just make sure you kill these enemies, use this combo, triangle and circle, to do this little, double animation. Break about 6 or 7 enemies before it actually breaks. But if you go to the bottom floor of the hotel room, you'll see this pipe here. The pipe in this game at the moment is absolutely OP. So as you make your way into the next floor of the building, or across the street, I should say, you want to have this weapon with you, much easier for you. So you want to make sure you're pressing R2 to run. You want to make sure you focus this guy on the left because he has a bottle in his hand, and if he throws at you, you'll lose your health and you'll probably get stunned, and this lady here will probably kill you. So once you kill that lady, you want to focus the guy with the bottle. You'll probably get the triangle and circle problem fairly quickly because you've got a weapon in your hand.
Yeah?
So now that you killed these 3 enemies, you've still probably got about another 4 or 5 with the pipe. So if you actually drop to this guy straight away before he notices you, you actually get the execution move off before he even realizes. You get the triangle and circle straight away. So you can't even fight you. So now that you've actually killed him, so you can now that you still have your weapon, which is so helpful. You can see here that I'm still using the same wrench from the hotel room right at the start, which I think is the same as some people don't even notice there. Some playthroughs on YouTube and people have to it up, which is kind of bad if you're trying to follow a guide. So I highly recommend you using that weapon. And as you can see here in my hand, that the weapon is starting to move on the ropes. So you can see it just broke. So what we do now is go all the way back and make sure you pick it up. And this guy here with a red band on is like a semi-pro fighter, so he has more health. So you want to try and get rid of him as quick as possible. And I just hit him across the pipe there with the execution. So that is the first area of the mission done. And you still have another weapon to use. So this weapon can come in handy for the next room. As you make your way up the stairs, there is a room to your left and a room to your right. So into the room to the left, there's a guy smoking or on the phone, I think. Yeah, there you go. So you want to just slap him up, kill him straight away, and there's a guy with a bottle in his hand sometimes here. So you just want to kill him as well. So once you've cleared out this room, you want to go to the room on the right here. And I actually missed the execution move here, which is really annoying. You can press triangle and circle on him if you get into the room without him knowing. So you can see the lady out there hasn't even realised that I'm even here. I did notice that if you pick up a bottle off the floor and throw at her, you do get the execution move here. So you want to go out of here, slap her up, kill her like that, and then pick up your wrench again. This is actually the first area which you might struggle with, because one of the people, I think the guy without the t-shirt on with the tribal tattoos, actually goes into a rage mode and he does more damage to you, which is really annoying. So I highly recommend you back into the room so you know what you're doing and you can try and fight them off one by one. You don't really want to fight them all together, because if you do get hit, you're pretty fucked. This guy doesn't have a weapon, so I'm just trying to stay away. I'm actually going to go back into the room and I do find an enemy on his own, so I can just kill him up quickly by pressing square, triangle, and there you go, he should be dead now. And in this room there is a broom on the balcony if you want to get it, and there's actually a bottle. I was debating about getting it. I do actually nearly die here, so you just got to be careful. As you can see here, I'm fighting all these enemies on my own. I need to the broom. You see that this guy has nearly killed me. I actually nearly lose my playthrough to these 3 enemies. It's actually kind of embarrassing, but you just want to be careful with what you're doing. You do regen your health, as I said earlier on. There you go, I've killed all these. Oh, there you go, I killed this guy. So when you pick up your first totem, which is like a little collectible, you do actually get your health back, which I'll show you now. As you make your way into this door, you'll see it to your right here, and you can put it into whatever you want. I do highly recommend you put it into health or either the weapon damage. If you're going to follow my gameplay or my playthrough, I do recommend these 2 settings. And once you go up here, there'll be 3 with 2 ladies here, which are fairly easy to kill. You can make this lady fall off the edge just like that, and you want to kill these 2, well, 1 lady and 1 man. Yeah, these are fairly easy to do with a weapon in your hand. Also, if you want to, you can actually save it here to the cloud so you can redo this checkpoint if you do fail. But this guy isn't that hard to do. All you want to do is hold L1 and move your analog stick to the side when he tries to hit you. And when you fight this guy, you want to hit some heavy blows to him. As you can see here, I did a kick, and then once you get into about half his health, you can actually do a elimination on him. And as you make your way down here, if you do lose a little bit of health, you can use this guy here to get a bit more health back. But I do actually have full health. Now you want to make your way into the next room. Sorry that my Elgato freezes here when I pick up the weapon. It's very, very frustrating, I know, I'm so sorry. But pick up this weapon on the table, and then you want to hit this guy as quick as you can. There is about 6 or 7 people in this room, so it does take quite a long time to kill these. It can be fairly tricky. Just make sure you press triangle circle when you can, so you get your health back. You can see in the left corner that it's regenerating fairly quickly. One of these people goes into rage mode. It's the guy either with the pipe or the bold guy who does go into rage, which means he does more damage and also takes longer to kill, which can be very, very annoying. You can see here that I've killed all the enemies, and then it's just this guy here which can be annoying. I do have a wrench in the other room, but I do not want to pick it up. I am trying to get the wrench out of his hand, which is so annoying. I'm going across the table. You can do that by pressing L2, I think. It's not that hard to do. You can learn it. It does allow you to learn the attacks. In fact, he did actually go in rage mode in my game. Oh, there he is. As I was saying, he did go into rage mode, which is really, really annoying. And this takes a long time to kill him. At least I do have the weapon, he doesn't. This guy does hit hard now, which is so annoying. I'm just gonna let this fight scene play out. It does take some time. And this is when I was starting to learn the game as well, so you do actually want to try and perfectly time it, which allows you to pull off the triangle circle. Oh, there you go, I got it there. And once you kill this guy, you hit across the table, and you can see there's a perfect wrench or pipe here on the floor, and then into the first room where the key is, and these 2 looking avatar people, which you can kill fairly easily. This weapon should come down as a bit of a treat. These 2 can go into rage mode if you stay too long in this room, so I highly recommend you try and kill them as quick as you can with the weapon. You can again use the tables to make it easier. Well, there you go. You also have a glass bottle there, which I just threw on the floor for no reason. But there is another little totem thing, and you can put it into health with damage, and I put it into damage for my weapon as I'm using them more and more often. So once you've done this, you want to pick up the key on the table and enter the room. As you enter the room, this area can be very tricky. There is a trophy to complete this area in 1 minute 30 seconds. So you want to make your way to the left first, and you want to focus this guy here. This guy can be killed pretty quickly with a little bit of sneak attack, which allows you to get the prompt again. As you make your way down, you want to pick up the pipe on the table here. And then this should make it a lot easier. You want to focus the guy on the right here, which I can see just in the corner of my eyes that he's going to pick up the weapon. And there you go, he's no longer in his hand, so he's not a threat to me. These with the bamboo don't really bother me, but you can kill these fairly quickly. One of these people in this room as well goes into rage mode, so do be careful when that happens. I'm just going to let that play out as well. And I do actually get a trophy for completed in 1 minute 20, not 1 hour. So once you've done that, you want to make your way over to this green door. There'll be another fat dude in here with his 2 little apprentices. You can kill this guy pretty quickly. I went straight to him. For some reason, with the bamboo stick, I managed to get the triangle and circle. So maybe if you can pick one up as well, you might be able to do it straight away. And this room was done very, very quickly for me. So if there is a bamboo in the other room, pick it up and try and follow what I just did. Because I didn't really do any combos then, but other than square and triangle. And yeah, this room is done. And you want to go into this next room. There is actually a totem to your right, so it will get your health back as well. It should be to your right in a second. There you go. You can pick up here. I put it back in damage again because the next fight is actually the last part of the mission. Is the boss. So once you've done this bit, then you've done the first mission at the age of 20 without dying. So let's do a little bit of a breakdown of the first boss. So we'll have a first area which is in a factory, and then a second area where he has a knife in a bamboo area. Once you get to the second place, you will get your health back, so you don't have to worry about regenning it or keeping it for 2 seconds. You can see here on the screen I do actually have a weapon in my hand, but due to me saving to the cloud because I made a mistake, I actually did load it back up here so I can play the mission over again. Once you get to this area, you want to make sure you're holding L1 and the directional screen. What will happen is if you do hard hitting blows, he will fall to the floor. You can see here that I'm just pressing triangle, triangle, and he will fall to the floor over and over again. I feel like this is the best method if you're a bit of a noob like me. You want to make sure you learn it as much as possible. Or you can press square, square, and triangle. You want to make sure you always hit a heavy attack. You also want to avoid hitting his weird orange attack. You can see here that I pressed L1, analog stick left and right, and then triangle. So that attack then was square, square, triangle. And as you get back up, you want to dodge the attack with the analog stick and then pressing square, square, triangle. And if that doesn't work, you just want to press triangle, 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 which will do hard hitting blows. There you go, triangle, triangle, triangle. You can see there, he just keeps falling through the floor. I still have a lot of my health. It took me quite a long time to realise what to do, so you want to make sure you're holding L1. So in this area, you want to make sure you're playing very, very defensively. You do not want to be the one engaging the attacks. So once he hits you, you want to do a directional hit to try and avoid it. Unfortunately, when he does his sweeps, I did actually miss a few times. You do also have your L2 to use your focus. I highly recommend you keeping that for your second area. When you get to this area, this guy turns into a bit of a rage mode now. You'll see him with his knife, and he looks a bit like me after a few nights of trophy hunting. So once you get to this area, you want to make sure you try and get one of the bamboo sticks and avoid his jumping attack. Once you have your weapon, if you upgrade it like me, it will do more damage. So I'm pressing triangle, triangle, analog stick, and if you get it right, your triangle attack will do a lot of damage with the upgrade. I did find this second area a lot harder to do. I don't know if there's any more buttons that you can press which will help you do this area. His knife does a lot of damage. He will go into the bamboo area 3 or 4 times. But if you do get your combos off, I think if you do get a parry with the bamboo stick in your hand, you're going to do a lot of damage. I do get very, very, very lucky in my playthrough on the second area. But in the first area, I smashed it out of the park basically. But this area, I did get myself stuck. If you'll see here, this is a bit of I throw a little bit here, so you want to make sure you don't get hit by the knife. See here, that knife does so much damage. See here, I'm nearly dead, so you want to make sure I'm what am I doing? So I actually managed to pick up my boost in, and his health, he still had on 1/3 of his health, and I got lucky, I killed him, and then your trophy should appear on the screen. So this is actually playthrough of the first mission. If this video has helped you guys, please leave a like, comment, and maybe a sub. This is my first video of the year, and in February. It is so bad for me, but peace out guys.
Now, I don't know about you, but when I watch a martial arts movie, my first thought is, boy, I sure wish I could do that, but with only a fraction of the hard work and training required. And that, my friends, is why we play video games. Like Slow Clap's new martial arts action game, Sifu. Hey everyone, welcome to X-Play. Today we're going to be living out our fantasies of being John Wick, but with considerably less dog murder. Sifu looks like it's designed entirely to put the player in the middle of badass, intricately choreographed fight sequences of their dreams. But it turns out that even in video game form, being good at martial arts is pretty hard. So to help me battle my way through it, I'll be joined by the Black Hokage, who should be here any minute. Somebody fight me!
Oh, hey. What's up, Adam? You want to fight?
Fight? Like, with my hands?
Sure, or your feet, or like a sword, or a broom, or something. I've been playing a lot of Sifu, and it's got me all hyped up to fight.
How about we just, review the game instead? That sounds so much less dangerous.
Fine, but at the end of the review, we're throwing hands.
Fine.
Sifu is developed by Slowclap, a French studio who was previously known for a different martial arts game, Absolver, which I really enjoyed.
You know, Absolver looked cool, but I never got around to playing it much.
Oh man, I'm gonna destroy you. And much like my impending showdown with Adam in the G4 parking lot, Absolver was focused on battling others, forcing you to test your moves against friends, enemies, and compete against strangers. And honestly, it was pretty dope.
And if Absolver was a solid first effort, then Sifu feels like a natural extension of Slowclap's dedication to making the perfect martial arts game.
You're not wrong. Absolver was cool, but everything in it was super vague and it didn't feel fully formed. It immediately became apparent that Sifu is a much more polished product built upon the familiar kung fu gameplay that is already enjoyed in Absolver.
And since it's single player, you can focus on growing and evolving as a warrior instead of fighting other people, like your friends / co-workers.
Hey, look, man, you're not getting out of this one, man. We're gonna fight, but that was a nice try.
Thanks.
Like many great martial arts stories, Sifu is a story of revenge. The player's character spends a day seeking brutal retribution against the 5 martial arts masters who killed his family, and each of whom have a big hideout full of goons. Because, of course, they got goons. The big gimmick that helps make Sifu what it is, though, is the aging system. The player gets revived by a magical amulet when they die, but aged by whatever number their death counter is set at. You get to start each level at the youngest age you reach it at, but the goal is to get through all 5 before you're just too damn old. And let me tell you, it's hard.
New moves can be unlocked for one run for a small amount of experience, or unlocked permanently by spending about 5 times as much. It all helps to emphasize the feeling of growth over time, which is really satisfying in a game like this, but so incredibly daunting in real life, which is exactly why I'm going to lose my upcoming fight against Hokage.
Hell yeah, you are!
Okay, TBH.
The first thing I noticed about Sifu is that it is an entirely different kind of game than I expected it to be. And not just because you're prompted to play as either a male or female character, which was entirely left out of all the marketing. I thought I was getting a story-driven action-adventure game, and while there are definitely elements of that, it's also not totally accurate.
Wait, that's the first thing you notice? Because the first thing I notice is that the game starts you out as the villain, letting it slowly dawn on you that you're in the process of murdering everyone the main character knows.
Okay, fine. That was the first thing, and it was dope. But the second thing I noticed is that Sifu has more in common with a roguelike than I expected. The levels aren't procedurally generated, but it definitely is based on runs more than like just playing straight through an order.
How old were you when you beat the first level for the first time?
Way too old. Older than you even.
Hurtful.
But the next time I beat it, I was much younger, closer to 50. And then after that, 30. And it was then is when I started to get what Sifu was going for.
Please, don't say growth and change through repetition and hard work. Please don't, please.
Growth and change through repetition and hard work, but in a fun way. And you know what? It mostly is worth it. Keyword is mostly. I don't normally play run-based games that much where the emphasis is on developing a new build for your character and learning from your past mistakes, which is too bad for me because Sifu basically requires it. It's so hard, you guys, like, oh my lord. You can use shrines to unlock upgrades as you go, and each time you die, you get another opportunity to purchase new moves. But the new moves and upgrades didn't carry me nearly as much as I thought and hoped they would, especially when it came to the boss fights, and they smacked me down every time I started to feel like I was getting the hang of this game.
There's definitely a huge spike in difficulty at the end of the game's levels, with each of the 5 main targets of your vengeance presenting a whole new set of moves and patterns that you have to learn. But vengeance isn't supposed to be easy, and it just plays back into those themes of growth over time, if that's, the sort of thing you're into.
Which it turns out it sort of is, at least up to a point. It feels amazing to set a new record on a boss and know that you get to start the next level at a younger age from now on. But losing all of your upgrades is demoralizing, and sometimes I just wish I could start over from the boss instead of the whole level. Some shortcuts do open up as you play by adding key cards and passcodes to your detective board, which thankfully doesn't reset after your run, so you could start to breeze through levels, but even then you're forced to consider the risk since it means you'll get less experience and fewer upgrades. And sometimes I don't want to consider the risk. I just want to fight people like Adam, for instance. Might cost me my job and some friendship, sure. But do I want to think about that in a time like this? No, I just want to knock somebody out with a baseball bat.
I mean, you can think about it a little, and wait, you're bringing a baseball bat?
Maybe. All the weapons in the game are super fun to use, including the baseball bat. Although, once again, they increase the risk of enemies just straight up taking it from you and giving you a taste of your own medicine. But nothing beats taking out a room full of bad guys with a broom like you're Jackie Chan. But the thing I appreciate the most about this game is how simple.
Welcome to the Trophy Room Reviews Sifu. This is a review discussion breaking down Sifu for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. I am your host, Joseph. Alongside me, Ainsley Bowden of Season Gaming. How are you, sir?
What's happening, brother? I'm doing well, man. Doing well. Playing some Sifu.
I know this game has been haunting my dreams, and honestly, Ames, you are the only person that I know who hasn't beaten Sifu.
Me too. And I've spoken to other people who have review copies at different outlets. I'm not going to name them, but I am the only one in checking with all of them who they've said they know who's beaten.
Yes. And with that said, I have had my copy for a week and a half, or sorry, less than a week, half a week. And this is a daunting experience. First and foremost, this game is not for the faint of heart. So if y'all haven't seen Sifu, this is the martial arts game made by Slow Clap, and we got our review copies from there. And this is a revenge tale. You're on a revenge path to kill those who have taken down your family. That's it. That's the story.
Yeah, I actually I can talk about it because it's going live later, right?
Yeah, of course. It's a review.
Yeah, I actually write that in my review, my written review, that it reminds me a little bit of Kill Bill. In that you basically, there's these 5 key nemesis that you want to take down for revenge, and it's set up in that same similar way where you go one by one, and each one represents a level. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, voice acting where it's there, it's fine. I think the cool thing about the VO is that because this is a roguelite, you're supposed to die, and the older you get, you have, of course, an older voice talking. So there was one time where I haven't been young in a while. Like I was like 56 for a whole long minute, and then I died and went back to the beginning. I was like, oh wow, I'm not used to his voice being so youthful.
Yeah, and you can, as you've learned, right, and I learned the hard way too, is you can age really quickly.
Yeah.
It's
very quickly.
Yeah, it's an interesting mechanic. I was struggling actually on how to describe it. But you said it well. I said the same thing. It's kind of a roguelite. It's got a few of those elements, and it reminds me of an era of games I wrote back. I'm older. We always joke about that. But the 8 and 16-bit era, where you had a limited number of lives to beat a game, and it's basically a play on that. As you age, that's pretty much your lives as you're going through the game.
Yeah,
and it makes it tough.
Yeah, and it pretty much multiplies. So if you die the first time, you start at age 20, you become 21. Then if you die again, you go and you age to 23. And then if you die again, you're 26, etc., etc. Now, there are ways of breaking it. Like, there are harder elite level, like little mini bosses within the level where if you kill them, it deducts one of the lives, so you don't age as fast. The cool mechanic here is the older you get, the stronger you become, but also the weaker health that you have.
Yes, the less health you have. Yes.
Yeah. So that's what I found a little interesting in that mechanic. But
Which, by the way, they patched and made that easier.
Oh, really?
2 days ago. It was even harder before that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about this combat. Let's talk about the combat, because Ains, there's a lot to unpack here, man.
Yeah, there is. Hey, don't take my phrase. What are we doing?
So let's talk about. Let's get into the nitty gritty. First, how do you like the combat?
It's amazing. It is. So when you first play this game, and you're getting your butt kicked, which you will, I promise you, you don't realize just how deep it is. And the more I